What's up, TikTok, and all my other lovely people that I go live with? Let me get my light. Let me get my light. Bing. Top of the morning to y'all. It's gonna be a good day, everybody. Let's enjoy this. I know it's probably backwards, um, but hopefully, let's enjoy this. Um, Grand Rising. Good morning. Hello, everybody. I'm gonna grab my tea real quick, and yeah, let's do that. I got some new gear and had a bunch of things move around, so there's some, not that there are things that are out of place, but there's more things and more complexities and wonderful things. But good morning. How is everybody? Let me know where you're tuning in from, what you're up to. Are you at work? Are you in bed? Um, where are you at? Misty Bab, what's up? Hello. Just having some tea off camera here. Johnny, what's up? How's everyone feeling today? It's a good day today. I mean, it's a good day every day, but definitely today. It's Valentine's Day. Oh my God, it's Valentine. All right. So I know what we're talking about during this live. We're talking about love. We're talking about um, we're talking about all things relationships and human design. Let me turn this light up just a little bit more so I'm not so red out. Wow, that's bright. But that works better. Um, so let's talk about love. Who's got a good question regarding love and human design? My partner is this. I'm this. I would like this, etc. Um, that's what this live is going to be all about. It's just like where can I show you in your body graph and maybe possibly in your body to look for answers. Again, it's like I'm doing my best not to try and like provide you guys answers just because I know them. I'm more interested in helping you equip yourself with the faculties to find those answers for yourself or be able to ask better questions so that you can look internally or at the world around you and discover like what is the actual answer. And so anywho, I'm a manifesting generator. What's up, Dancing Divine Matrix? Hello. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. So any relationship related questions? Like one thing I can say is what's up, Shaolin Luke? Chacha, Candice, hello guys. What's up? Welcome, welcome. Curious about the relationship themes. Okay, great place to start. So, in human design, when you link uh, a relationship chart, right? There's always going to be a relationship theme associated with it. And so the way that you tell what the relationship theme is you count the number of defined centers in the body graph, and then you count the number of undefined centers, and that would be your theme. Me and my partner, we're 8 and 1. My last partnership, I think I was 9 and 0. But essentially, the more, the higher the number is of defined centers, the more defined the relationship is going to be. 9 and 0 for life. Shaolin Luke with himself, he's fully defined. So exactly. But the more defined the relationship is going to be, and it doesn't mean that the relationship is always going to be the same, so much as the the themes and the nuances of the relationship are going to be the same. What center do you and your partner have undefined? So we have the undefined emotional center. And so what that means to me is like, and thanks for that question, because it's like a great example to talk about would be me and my partner. We're 8 and 1 with the open or the undefined emotional center. And so when it comes to emotions, I'm never attempting to apply any strategy when it comes to emotions. I'm always doing my best to be like, okay, what's present? Because sometimes she needs me to make a decision for her. Other times she needs me to um, leave her alone. Sometimes I need her to make a decision for me. Sometimes I need some space. Sometimes I need to be held, right? And this is the cool thing about human design is if you understand particularly the circuitry within human design, it makes relating with others a lot easier because there's certain relationships where there's a lot of tribal circuitry happening, a lot of tribal electromagnetics, a lot of individual electromagnetics, and those are going to be different from each other in a variety of different ways. But it's really important to if you have undefined centers in your composite romantically, like don't expect to ever master whatever's going on there. So like for instance, thinking, like a lot of people will have undefined head and ajna, and these are relationships where it's like it's really easy to talk about a bunch of different subjects. You typically, if the person is in their signature and not selfing everywhere, right? There, it's going to be a really easy to like entertain different ideas or different ways of thinking. Like there's a lot of openness versus if someone has a defined ajna, there's typically going to be a little bit more of a pattern or a pacing to their thinking. Navigating anxious attachment as a manifesting generator. So anxiety is a function of the ajna, right? It's literally the function of the ajna. The ajna's job is to make you anxious so that you can think about things, so that you can ultimately manifest your ideas with finding people in the external world who are going to help you manifest your ideas or manifest your inspiration. Um, because there's no motors above the throat, it's just an awareness center and a pressure center. The anxiety is not really for you to do anything with in yourself. And what I mean by that is that the ajna is an external authority. It's like what I'm doing to you guys right now. I'm talking to you about things and you guys are listening. Your ajna is picking up on that and you're moving it through your own awareness, being like, "Oh, does that fit? Does that not fit?" And you're like mentally it's like getting uploaded and it's getting filtered through the ajna. And so with anxiety, one of the most powerful things that you can do with your anxiety is drain it out of your head into your body. And so a really simple technique to do that would be just to plug your nose, look up, and then try and breathe out your nose like you're trying to blow bubbles underwater, like this. And while you're doing this, envision like a drain, like you pull the plug out of a bathtub and all the water just starts circulating down. And what you want to do is you want to send the pressure down your body into either your solar plexus or your sacral, or just down, anything below the neck would be good. So you plug the nose, look up, and then push. And while you're doing this, feel yourself getting heavier. Like you want the anxiety and all the heaviness to stop being carried around by the brain, and you want to actually like descend it into the body. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. Um, yeah, with Cheyenne and I having only one undefined center in her chart being the head, what could this bring up or as flows through your reflectorness? That immediately made me fart. Awesome. So if one person has the undefined head, it could mean that one person is a little bit more open to inspiration, in the sense that like typically what happens in relationships is like, why don't you think the way I think, or like why aren't you inspired by the things that I'm inspired by? Or in particular with this concept, it would be more so along the lines like, why do those things inspire you? They don't inspire me. Or why do you care about those problems? Like they're obviously not your problems, you don't need to worry about that. And for somebody with a defined head to be speaking to somebody with an undefined head like that, it can be just inherently kind of shameful. Because regardless of whether the person has any kind of stories about other people's problems, there's a dynamic of like the undefined head doesn't relate to the defined head, and the defined head doesn't relate to the undefined head, right? The undefined head looks at the defined head and is like, you're way too rigid, you're way too structured. And the defined head looks at the undefined head and says, like, you're not structured enough. And so it's this comparison that if you can learn to appreciate the ways that you guys are different, again, of course, that's where a lot of the magic is going to start to flow. And so anytime that you find like that they are like thinking about problems that are not theirs, instead of like punishing them for it, whether consciously or unconsciously, or mentally trying to help them figure it out, like engage them in some kind of like emotional or sacral presence with you. That would be the the movement. Yes, makes sense. Absolutely. Got you. Yeah. Candace, what about a manifestor 6-2? Me, a reflector 2-4. Ours is a 6-3. Ajna, head and heart are undefined. 5 out of 6 are individual. Ah, so the 6 and 3 romantically can be very tricky in the sense that the 6 and 3 has always been the rhyme that goes with that theme is 6 and 3, better to be free. Me and Pasha are actually 6 and 3. And so one of the things that I find with the 6 and 3 that's really important is like that area, that sense of like control. You don't get it in the way that you think that you get it. You get it in the pushing the person to be more themselves, more than they're comfortable. And in doing that, you either get back a better version of the person that you love, or you don't get them back at all. And that's great. Because the thing is like, especially with a reflector, right? It's like one of the things about reflectors that we have to recognize is like we're kind of like the anti-manifestors. We're the ones that say, hey, this needs to stop. Fuck that, we're not doing that anymore. And one of the things that I think is important about a man or about a reflector in recognizing, like, especially when you're in a relationship with a manifester, is that you don't leave it up to the manifester to let you know when things are done. Like, as a reflector, you have to let them know when you're done. How you say, reflector, it's very important to like bend the rules. We're in a way we're like very mind bending in that sense. And so yeah, like anti-manifest, I've never said that before, but it definitely feels like that. And so with that relationship, again, I would just say one of the best things that you can do is like push the manifester to do their thing, especially because you're both second lines. And then it's like, don't come together unless both of you are like really craving each other. Ajna, head, and heart are undefined. Remember, you're not here to solve each other's problems, that you're not here to prove anything to each other, and that a lot of the relationship, because it's individual, or 5 out of 6 are individual, it's really important for you guys to use each other as leverage to get into melancholy and not try to soothe each other in melancholy with your guys' presence. That will just make you resentful. Also, never argue on the bed. Never argue in the bedroom ever. It's just the worst things. So I'm a 4-6 emotional man gen. What's up, Chacha? My partner is a 6-3 emotional man gen, but I have here heart and root, and he does not. We both have undefined head and ajna. Any nuggets? Yeah, undefined head and ajna is like enjoy the brainstorming, show each other cool stuff. Don't take anything too seriously. I would say for your defined heart and root, one of the things that Pasha did to me all the time was whenever his root would feel pressurized, he would let me know like, hey, I'm feeling root pressure, or hey, I'm feeling like some like emotional wave energy. And even just letting me know like, hey, this tank is full. I'm either gonna leave in the next 15 minutes, or I just don't want it to come out on you. So that's one of the things about being clean with energy, is like literally just letting people know what's going on, or like, oh, my sacral energy is really filled up right now. Don't feel any pressure to like be on my level, right? And if it's like you want them to be on your level, say like, hey, my sacral energy is filled up right now, like I really want you to be on my level, can you hop on this level with me? Like, just like make sure you're giving people the grace of making their own decisions, and watch that part of you that expects things from your partner just because they're your partner, right? And also recognize that like double standards are okay in situations, as long as you guys know what the double standards are. Like me and my partner have a ton of double standards. I will, going into the house, I regulate my energy so that it matches what's going on in there. Her coming into my bus, I'm not expecting her to regulate her energy. Like if she's on a low or if she's on a high, I'm just going to be here, and whatever she brings, I'm going to match it. That's just one of our double standards. So I'm the one that's more mindful about having to regulate my energy, and especially when it comes to moods. I don't really put that expectation on her. And we got there because we were having issues of like, I didn't want to regulate my energy around her because she didn't regulate her energy around me. And it was just one of these situations where it was like, I wasn't doing something that she was clearly asking for, because she wouldn't do it for me, but it wasn't that important to me. it's still to this day not that important to me that she's super excited about all the things that I'm super excited about. And so again, with the defined and undefined energies in relationships, you really get an opportunity to just appreciate how you guys are different, and you don't need equal standards, okay? If you're in a relationship, you guys don't value things exactly the same, so don't set your standards the same way, but you do need to communicate about it. I've witnessed it, and you guys do this so well, especially in masculine, fine, and feminine dynamic. In my opinion, such a great way for you to reflect where she is. Right, and that's the thing is like I enjoy being surprised by like, oh, Emerald's in a really happy mood. Like, let me just like get up there with her. And then there's times when I'm like really in a low mood, and Emerald is like, witnesses that, and she's like, oh, he's not able to reflect me in this state, so I'm just gonna let him be. Because usually when I'm in like my mood, I just want to be like hugged and kissed and then left alone. And I've been getting better about asking for what I want, but usually what I want is to just like be left alone and nap. Yeah, so okay, what if we have vision for what would be good though as a reflector? What if we have a vision? I don't understand that question, my friend. Garrett, ask it a different way. What do you mean? Are you talking about inner vision or outer vision as a sense? I'm a 6'2" ego projector with a defined heart. My partner is 6'2" generator without heart defined thoughts. Yeah, don't expect your generator to keep up with you. And this is funny to me telling a projector this. But the generator energy, the sacral energy and the heart energy are very different. Like the generator is like the main motor, the heart energy is like the supercharge. Okay, so it's like as a projector, if your ego is involved, you'll have more energy. And I mean that in a healthy and an unhealthy way. Um, with your defined ego, you might look and unconsciously sort of belittle the generator energy because it's like the generator energy just goes till it's exhausted. The heart energy goes until it's done, right? And the sacral energy goes until it's tired. The heart energy, the ego energy will go until the job is done. And there's a big difference between that because something that you might find with your partner, right, is that there's a as a projector there's a desire for your partner and the people around you to do things in an efficient way. And if your generator partner is used to doing things in a certain way, but they're not getting the job done, your undefined heart is going to look at that and be like, what an idiot. And you might say it in like loving ways, but the energy is still, what an idiot. And the reason I say that is because there's these like sharp energies that have a really big impact in relationships, that if you don't take accountability for the sharp energy because you're using nice, flowery, fluffy, spiritual words, that's going to mess you up over time. Like you have to take accountability for that sharp energy. So anyway, you said it in a nutshell. I feel like if he's in his not self, and you're absolutely right about not waiting for him to walk away. I realized that last night. Yep. Thank you. Just said oh whole time. Oh, exactly. Oh, yeah. These are great guys. I think this is one of my favorite things in relationships because as a reflector, when I do one-on-one sessions, I'm able to really to just call out like a lot of things. And in relationships, I feel like that is so valuable to have someone objective to just like call things out so that it can actually be brought up. And I actually got to do this with my parents um, while I was in San Diego, and it was a beautiful situation because I I'm like still their son. I would never won't be their son, but there was a moment where I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm creating some harmony in their relationship, because I can be like objective and just call things out. And it's like the thing about relationships is like recognize whenever you're like fighting or at odds with your partner, one of the things that you want to acknowledge is like, okay, we're still on the same team. Like we still want the same thing in the sense that they want me to be happy, I want them to be happy, and I want me to be happy and they want themselves to be happy. I don't know if I said that twice, but we're still on the same team, same team, same team, same team. Even if it seems like they're doing something that's undermining you, 90% of the time it's unconscious. And so one of the first things that I like to do whenever me and my partner have some kind of like discord or rift between us is take some space and recognize like, okay, we're on the same team. We might have different approaches to how we achieve the goal, but we're on the same team. and drop that story that like my partner is trying to ruin me. Because if your partner is actually trying to ruin you, you need to let that relationship get ruined and walk away. That's what I mean. When you start to date people that are actually in it because they want something greater than just themselves, there's a very clear threshold of like, when we're younger, we're just exploring, we're just trying to figure out what we like, etc. But eventually we want to build something that's greater than ourselves, and that's when you start entering into relationships with people that are considerate. um, but you can't enter into relationships with those people if you're constantly bogged up with those kind of more base level relations, which are very um, survival, sexuality, and how you say material or career oriented. Like once you get above kind of the heart, in a sense, when you get into relationships that are more about connectivity, that are about actual health and wellness, that are about again building something that's bigger than yourself, yeah, and that's when relationships get real good. So anyway, my mom is a triple split generator. I'm a reflector, combined 7-2, undefined solar plexus and heart. Got it. Okay. So what you just said about the generator, oh my God, so true. How I think about my mom sometimes. Yep, you're speaking my soul, Marco. This is lovely. You're welcome, Candace. Yeah, and that's the one thing too is like as a reflector, obviously I've been a reflector my entire life, but I've been studying human design for like 10 years. And there are plenty of reflectors online that I follow that they're just not hardened enough for me. Like there's still this sort of like fluffiness about projectors or fragility about reflectors that I just don't resonate with it. And I used to resonate with it, but the minute that I decided to have my own opinion about what a reflector actually is, and like I let go of the whole like Teflon aura, because I don't like to see my aura as Teflon. Like my Teflon's a diamond, or rather, it's a diamond making aura, in the sense that it's like I can let things in, I can close up around them, and I can compress them, and I can add a lot of heat to them, and then I can spit them back out, or I can bring them in closer. And so now I'm like a gem dealer, rather than a non-stick pan. Anyway, I'm a projector 2-4, and I'm very blunt. Triple split. Yes, Dottie. Yes. Um, the projector 2-4 is again, and this is another thing too. Like, however your aura feels, because they say like projectors have the penetrating aura, reflectors have that Teflon aura, which I like the diamond aura better. Generators have the enveloping aura. Recognize that your aura may not be functioning the way that it was designed to function, and in the sense of like discovering what is my aura supposed to function like, it's the same way that a baby discovers how to use their hands. It's not like somebody teaches them how to use their hands. They try to grab stuff and they knock stuff over. And so one of the cool things about the human design experiment is it's like you're not really here to like always be using your strategy and authority. You're also here to not use your strategy and authority and discover for yourself how lame and fucked up that is. So what I'm saying is like, it's important, especially in the beginning of your human design journey, to like embrace all of the mistakes. Your aura is like refreshing. Thanks, homie. I appreciate it. Um, I spent a lot of time in the river yesterday, which was great. So anyway, how would I get a one-on-one with you? Oh, Garrett. So, I'm sorry, I didn't see your question over here. I on my website you can book one-on-ones and all that stuff. Let me answer your question here too. We see what's going wrong and share it. What if we also see how it could be better and want to share that? So, um, I have found that as a reflector, if people are not asking for my opinion, I'm not giving it. And what I mean by that is I'm not giving it in a way where I expect them to listen to it, or I'm like trying to give them counsel. I've recently entered my villain era where I'll give these like little fuck you jabs, like, "Oh, you're still doing that? Okay." I recognize that some people are gonna take that as arrogance, and but that's the way that I'm going to do, like, because I don't want to like small talk with you, Some people are like, oh, maybe your guys' kids will get along. I like, yeah, we'll see. I hope so. I certainly hope so. I'm not. I'm taking the counsel that I have, and because people are not asking me directly for it, I'm just like I'm just throwing it on the ground. Like I'm not trying to hold it so it's like, oh yeah, when you want this, come get it from me. I'm like, hey, I threw it in the dirt 3 or 4 months ago when you decided to start projecting all of your insecurities onto me, and think that I was judging you. It's on the floor way back there. If you want to ask another question about how things are now, you can ask that. Like I'm super open. I'm just not, again, I'm not like making jewelry for people that aren't asking for it. That's a one way to say it. Um, Relating to auras, silver and purifies reflect like a mirror, right? And so one of the things too about the aura of a reflector is, I don't feel like things slide off me. I feel like things move through me, kind of like how electricity will move through a circuit. And one of the things about electricity is that whenever you send electricity through a circuit, there's always what's called a loss of like energy. And so what they do is when they're trying to not lose energy, they cool the circuit down. And I relate this as like being not necessarily stoic, but being very peripheral. Like even though I'm looking here, I'm still seeing all of the stuff around me. I'm still seeing my light, my picture, the rainbows, my little audio interface, which is on for no reason right now because I'm not using any of my mics or any of that stuff. Um, and I'll look off into the distance, but again, it's the ability to be in a peripheral state that actually makes me more alert and more focused. Because the thing about the peripheral energy is like if I see something out of the corner of my eye, I can really quickly whip over there without turning my whole body. And this is something that is, as a reflector, has made me feel a lot more safe, more robust, because it's like I don't have to be on guard all the time. I'm relaxed, but I'm still seeing everything. My reflexes are quicker, but that's just because I train them. And so for anyone that wants to do that, by the way, that you want to like enhance your aura and strengthen your aura in the way that I do, not just like learn a bunch of human design information, come join my membership. It's $37 a month, or you can pay $333 for the entire year. It's hands down the best deal that you can get in the world right now, I think, in terms of human design, because what we're doing in there, we're teaching people how to actually grow and expand and strengthen their aura, not just like learn a bunch of stuff about human design. That's all fine, but it's more important for you to have a relationship with your centers in your physical body than to know information about them that was told to you by a chart. And again, once you know that information and you have that relationship in your body, then life just becomes like a video game and it's awesome. So, anyway, when you just did that aura squish move, I felt like a cuteness, aggression, pressure. Yeah, exactly. So I can like I'll fucking smash you. I'll destroy you. Like if you want to do a one-on-one with me, great. I will crush you. But I will help you turn into the diamond that you know you are. And, is no pain, no gain. Anyway, there are some things you do as a reflector to keep your mirror clean, like your bus, if that makes sense, specifically in regards to your partner. Um, yeah, so let's see. I There's a lot of things that I do. Like rebounding is one, like where I just like jump. I like literally sit on a ball. So, and the reason why this is like helpful for me to clear my energy is because it's a sensation that I can work with. And it's a sensation that internally, like I can feel myself bouncing. I can feel the pressure. Oh my God, I just bought a gym ball. Candace, yes, exactly. So reflector codes. And in terms of like how to keep the mirror clean, recognize that as I'm talking about as being a reflector, everyone can do this, right? Everybody can benefit from watching a reflector and seeing how they do things, because as a reflector, my goal is to just like be as natural as possible. And in my ability to like in my efforts to be natural as possible, what happens is I'm able to actually engage with artificial things and influences in a way that doesn't degrade my soul, right? Like I can go play video games, I can go to a club, I can go to these things, and because I'm genuinely like my whole system and my whole aura is just very naturalized because I put a lot of work into it. Going into those space, I do have a threshold. I can't be at the club for 3 days straight. Maybe I could. It's a test though. Like I've reached some thresholds where I was like, and I was at a party yesterday for my buddy's girlfriend's birthday, and it was so fun. And I was like, oh, I want to stay longer. But then I went alone, and I was like, actually, my energy is kind of low. I want to leave now. But I told my friend I would stay. He's like, man, I hope they don't think that. They wouldn't think that. It's okay. So, like they want you to do what's best for you. Assume this. Assume that everybody wants you to do what's best for you, because if they don't, and you do what's best for you and you have conflict, it's going to become very clear who actually doesn't give a fuck about you and who is only using you because you're a nice addition to their business or their life or something. And just assume that everyone wants you to do what's best for you and then do that thing. Because if you live in that way, what happens is all the people that don't want what's best for you, they cycle themselves out. Always do what's best for you, bro. I'm always happy when you follow your internal path from the homie I was just talking about. Thank you, bro. It was great. And it felt good to say bye to you too, because there was none of that, like, oh, don't leave energy. And it's like, not even you. I remember when I would have friends that would be upset that I would leave the party early. Like 4 or 5 friend groups before this group of friends, bro. And I realized I was like projecting that onto you because there was so much social interaction going on. And then just saying bye, it felt so good because I was like, oh, peace. Like, yeah, there's none of that there. And so it really helped to dispel for me. It's probably because you are the life of the party so often. Oh, thanks, bro. Marco, do you practice Tai Chi? Luke actually maybe yes. Sometimes I practice Tai Chi. I don't have like an official practice, but Qigong and Tai Chi have always been a really huge part of my life. And even just like just like moving slowly, moving in a relaxed way, and again letting the sensation inform as opposed to like, am I doing this right? Well, like, does it feel? What happens if you slow it down? And Tai Chi and Qigong are very like specific. You know what I mean? Like they're very specific practices, but a lot of the times when I'm doing like my movement, there's elements of Tai Chi, there's elements of Eskrima, which is the Filipino martial arts that I grew up doing, and yeah, assume that everyone wants the best for me. That's a game changer. Yeah, Candace. And as a reflector too, big game changer for the reflector, because the reflector, I feel like, and I've been pulled in so many directions where it's like I didn't feel like, oh, I can't deliver this to the person. They're not wanting to hear this. And like back what I was saying earlier, and like now I'm like, oh, dude, if you don't want to hear this, and I'll give you a couple chances. I'll be like, hey, I need to clear some things with you. And if that's not received, I don't do things with that person anymore. It's like I think everyone needs to move into a little bit more of a villain era and like protect yourself in a little bit more of a villainous way. And the reason I say villainous way is because I feel like everyone's gone into the hero mode and everyone wants everyone to like them and everyone wants everyone to like feel good about their interactions with them. But that is like the quickest way to being a very, very sad person. Like having a lot of friends maybe, but just being a very, very sad person. Qigong is so dope. Over 4,000 years of refinement. Exactly. Yeah. So I love the free flow movements. Tai Chi a little more structured for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, oh wow, I experienced the other night about not paying attention to the person. There was an upset, drunken lady. When I came close to her, but I didn't pay her attention, she actually drew near to me and said she liked me because of my smile. That's funny. Bro, Jesus protected his time and energy though, and he's the ultimate hero. Yeah, straight up, exactly. It's like, sorry, I don't have time for that. We got it. You gotta. And this is where like the archive and my membership. The reason I'm so excited about it is because, when it comes to using strategy and authority in human design, that's all fine and dandy. But how about when you're stressed out? How about when there's someone pressuring you? How about when it's your partner? How about when you don't feel safe to use your strategy and authority? Are you going to use it then? And the answer is no. And the reason the answer is no is because if you did, you wouldn't be in those kinds of situations. If your nervous system was relaxed enough, if you felt safe enough in your own body, it wouldn't be a question of, am I going to use my strategy and authority? You wouldn't be in those situations because your strategy and authority would have kept you out of that a long time ago. So this is like a thing for people is if you discover that there's a time or an interaction or a person where it's very challenging for you to use your strategy and authority, I'm not saying leave that person behind. What I'm saying is that is a wonderful training ground for you. What a wonderful thing to discover. Wow, I'm not as good as I want to be in this certain area, right? What a wonderful thing to be insecure, to be like, wow, I don't feel safe in this area. Because what are you going to do about it? Never go to that area? Or are you going to train so that you feel safer in those areas that you don't feel safe in? One of my favorite quotes is about a bird sitting on a branch. And a bird can sit on a branch and fall asleep. Why? What if the branch breaks? That's what the bird has wings for. Guys, you have wings. Just because you don't feel safe in an environment doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the environment. It means you're too weak. If you can't, if something is too expensive, it's not that it's too expensive, it's that you can't afford it. You don't have enough resources. And this is where you can shift from being a victim in life to actually taking radical responsibility for everything that happens to you, regardless of how heinous, because that's just how you get stronger. That's just how maturity works. And I'd love to debate this with someone, but I don't know what argument that they could take. The other argument is like, oh, fix the world. And it's like, you want me to send billions of people to therapy so that I feel better about myself? Nah, nah. This is why I'm awake at 5 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Let's go, Candace. That's what's up. That's what's up. Thank you for sharing that. You don't feel fragile as a reflector. I worry about this for my granddaughter. Yeah, yeah. Do you save and post these lives anywhere to be viewed later? Yes. So all of these lives get posted on YouTube. Um, Thanks, YouTube. I at least I'm pretty sure they're still getting posted on YouTube. Let me go verify that because I know YouTube just saves all of the lives that happen. Um, but I do want to verify this, and I'm pretty sure I'm. It should show that I'm live right now. Yep, great. Yeah, so if you go to my live, my streams, it has all of my streams. It looks like 4 months ago. Yeah, I think they're all here, but also I am getting closer and closer to the point of having. I need someone to help me with all this media that's being created. Um, yeah, shout out Riverside, bro is live on so many platforms right now. Yeah, exactly. I love Riverside. It's been so good. So maybe triggering innocent children being harmed aren't responsible for that, are they? Again, as a parent, you know, there's so much of us that wants to protect our children from harm. And how many people grew up, because this is me, how many people grew up thinking, oh, if my parents didn't protect me as so much, I would have learned a lot more sooner and I would have made a lot less mistakes later in life. That's one of my stories. um, and so something that's really important to recognize is that for children, like when you cross the threshold, by threshold I mean when you're born, like it's on the baby. Those first years, it's like, okay, like mom has to be there, but like once the kid starts walking around and like developing their brain, like the truth, forever the truth is your only protection. If you go into that forest, there's tigers in there, they might get you. Oh, but I'm an innocent child, like I'll be fine going into the forest. The kids goes in the forest, gets eaten. It's like, dude, that's this is life. We go hard on Earth. Like Earth doesn't give a damn. Love doesn't give a damn. Like it's like there are laws here that must be obeyed. And if a tiger is hungry, it doesn't care about the innocence of a child. It's gonna eat it. Um, so yeah, so definitely super activating because I know a lot of people like really want to protect the children. And one of the questions is like, how many people are harming children under the premise, oh, I'm protecting the child? And I mean directly. I mean directly harming the child, like not letting them go do things that they want to go do, not letting them explore interests that they want to explore, or even shifting them towards interests and trying like to manipulate them to take the safer route or something like that. Or doing like really heinous, disgusting things, saying that, oh, they just weren't getting enough love at school, so I had to love them when they were home. It's like, and it's a very case by case basis, especially with kids. But one thing that I recognized is that it's in the mother to take a infant into a child, but it's the father's responsibility to introduce that child to the world so they can become a man or a woman. And the male and feminine sense of danger is very different. It's hardwired that way. It's supposed to be that way. Because when they're little babies, give them everything. Give them everything. But when they're kids, if you continue to give them everything, they never become adults. TBH, that's why the manifester was great for me to be around until it wasn't. But I used it as a way to experiment with what happens when I do use my strategy slash not self. Super interesting. Yeah. And again, it's like, guys, like life is, we're all just learning here, right? Like we're all just learning here, and there are certain lenses that you can look through in life. You can look through the political lens, you can look through the scientific lens, you can look through the somatic lens, you can look through the Reiki lens, you can look through all these different lenses, and each person has, 100,000 lenses that they use to look at things. But the real question is what are the lenses that you're looking through right now? Not what which ones should you be looking through. The real question is do you know what lenses you're using to look at everything, including yourself, including your relationship? Do you know what lenses those are? Because which lenses should I be using? That question is only answered by first exploring what lenses am I using right now. Everyone wants to be like, I have the best lens. You should look through the archive lens. But the archive is just going to ask you what lenses are you looking through right now. So anyway, I think we have figured it out, guys. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, I gotta go pee. So if you guys are enjoying this live, do me a favor, like the live. If you're not following already, please follow and subscribe or whatever. I'm gonna go pee. I shall return post haste. And for anyone curious where I go to the bathroom, I pick a spot on the floor. All right. To get some tea going. Heat up some tea. All right, this has already been such a dope live. What time is it? 9:41. Cool. So we'll hang out for another like 20, 30 minutes. Ooh, yep. Breath belt training time. So this is one of my secret weapons, guys. It's called a breath belt, and it squeezes you so that you can learn how to drive pressure outwards. Um, yeah, so it's like a corset essentially, but I'm wearing it so that I can increase the amount of pressure here on my upper ribs specifically, so that I can learn how to breathe in more intense environments. Literally more intense environments with more tension. Okay. So now this is going to be squeezing me. What's my favorite book at the moment? I can show you the book I'm reading, which I'm very close to the end. I literally just finished like the final confrontation, and this is it. This is from a book series called Aragon, which is one of my favorite stories. Obviously, it's about dragon. I mean, it's about dragons and magic and an ancient language, and it's so good. And I just found that at like months ago at a what do you call it? Not a flea market, at a thrift shop. Yeah. My favorite book at the moment though, and so this is the thing too, is like there's so many people that have written really good books. I've read a lot of them in the self-help space, and one of my recommendations to people that are like, oh, what book should I read to increase my spirituality? I'm actually kind of like, if you're a habitual book reader and you've read a lot of stuff, chances are that you've read enough books and have enough information but haven't integrated a lot of it. And so if you're looking for a book to read, like read the book on what happens when you turn your head to the left, keep your eyes facing forward and swallow. Read the book on that whole chain of energy going down, like how far down does it go? And the reason I say this is because everyone is looking for more downloads, but the reality is like, guys, we need more uploads. We need more uploading happening from the quote unquote common people. Um, You know, like just because someone writes a book, it's like, oh, this person has so much authority. Like, I know people that have written some really big books, and their lives are a fucking mess, guys. Like, it's not like they like again, and not to say that their techniques don't work, but it's like recognize that you don't have to be perfect to like contribute something to the world. And in fact, it's that like perfection and paralysis by perfection energy that is literally starving the world. And it's like the world is starving, like the world is hungry for whatever it is that satisfies you, for whatever it is that makes you feel successful, for whatever it is that makes you feel at peace, and specifically you at peace, you feeling satisfied, you feeling successful, you as a reflector feeling surprised. Those are all the signatures in human design. And if you follow your strategy and authority and you reinforce the use of your strategy and authority with stuff like this, with a certain type of training that we call sensory design, and you can learn it in the archive, like guys, like life is very much so at your beck and will, but you have to know how to use the controller. And your physical body is the controller. Human design is the map of the controller, but sensory design is the actual tutorial and training of how to do the controller. And recognize too that we all went through a tutorial when we were babies, but we just forgot it because there were all these other tutorials that we had to go through as kids. That, you know, the school tutorial, here's how to learn math and trigonometry, blah blah blah. You know, like so as a reflector, for instance, like using the strategy of waiting a lunar cycle. You know how many people I've disappointed by saying I need to wait a lunar cycle, and they're like, oh, I can't wait that long. And I said, okay, well then my answer is no. And they say like, oh, really? You're not even gonna like give it some time? I said, look, this is the amount of time that I need. If you want to do something big like this with me, you got to give me this time. And also, don't expect me to just like, oh yeah, after 28 days I'll let you know. I'm like, if you really want me to work for you, not only are you going to give me 28 days, you're going to check in with me 28 days later to see if how I feel about it. And if I've forgotten about it, then, you know, again, it's like I probably don't want to do it and I'm probably going to say no. But if I remember and you've checked back in, like those are the people that I'm going to work with. And I get a lot of people that want to work with me that I'm like, check back in with you 28 days later, and they don't check back in. And you know what that tells me? They found someone else. Great. My lunar cycle is how I got my best outcome possible for my rental. Yeah. And it's like it's so important to recognize that there is a sense of danger or a sense of oh, I don't want to miss out. There's a FOMO of using your strategy and authority, especially like with reflectors because it's so long, and even projectors. Like, what if I miss? Like, I really want to go to that thing with those guys, but like they didn't invite me. It's like, don't go. And they're like, but what if I miss out? And I was like, what are you missing out on if the people that you want to go with don't invite you? Maybe that was for a projector. That seems pretty harsh. If they don't invite you, what are you actually missing out on? Hair routine? I do not have a hair routine. I brush it with the unbrush and wash it with like mane mane and tail. Mane and tail. That's what my routine is. New class today. Yes, we have a new class today. So for anyone that wants to like actually start training with us, again, the membership, it's called the archive. That's where we teach sensory design and do all this stuff. I do live in a bus, Lucy. I love it. And we have a class today in like a little over an hour. We're going to have a live class today. The only way to get in that class is to join the membership. So you can join the membership after this live is over. I'm going to end it in about 20 or 30 minutes or so, give myself enough time to get ready for class. And then you can join class. And there's a whole like series on, you know, exercises for the centers. It's very exciting. It's like even if you're coming in like mid-season, mid-class, you can go back and watch the replays and be like, oh, these are the exercises that are good for the head najna. You know, these are the exercises that are good for the throat. right? These are the exercises that are good for the heart. These are the exercises that are good for the spleen. And I'm doing subtle things with my body. I'm not trying to like, explain it to you guys right now. Um, but yeah, so I just be out here chilling, I guess. Yeah, reflectors, like again, it's our job to just like be the chillest people on the planet. So let's see. My dad is a manifesting generator who was in the army. He would have had me move into a house paying triple what I pay now because I waited. Yeah. Exactly. And that's the thing, is like that's what conditioning is. Conditioning is what everyone else thinks you should do. And the result, or like the cause of conditioning, is ignoring what's going on inside. Like the reason why people condition other people is, or one of the big reasons. This is important. One of the biggest reasons why people will condition other people is because they're ignoring what's going on inside their body, right? Because for instance, as a, like, let's say I'm a sacral generator and I really want you to be in love with me, right? I really want you to like want to date me. And my strategy, or my sacral, is like this person doesn't love me. So it's like, ugh, but I really want them to love me. And so I'm going to condition myself, and I'm going to try and condition you to love me because there's something in myself that I'm ignoring. And so the cause of a lot of conditioning is simply ignoring the signals that the body is giving us. If you want to reverse conditioning, you can't, because you can't reverse time. But if you want to work with conditioning, again, ask yourself, what conditioning do I have right now? It's not about deconditioning yourself, it's about becoming aware of the conditioning that you currently have. So the exercises are so good. It's been a couple weeks and I already see a lot of changes. Carrie, yes, Carrie's in the archive and she is absolutely crushing it, obviously, because she's noticing changes. Because these exercises, like, they're not like lift a dumbbell 30 times. They're like, how much pressure can you hold in your mouth before your cheeks get tired? Can you swallow while you're doing that? Like it's sensory training. It's getting you to come into contact with parts of yourself that you haven't been in contact with probably since you were a baby. And when you start to do that, chipmunk cheeks in the car all day, all day. I be even driving, when I'm driving, I don't even look at the road anymore. I look just above the road. Right? I try to use my peripheral vision. Um, don't do the nose ones in the car. That's gonna be dangerous. I did that once and may or may not have passed out for 3 seconds and came back and I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, just be mindful. I say that a lot, I know, but it's just be mindful. So anyway, so what would you recommend to someone who wants to get into human design but doesn't know their birth? I would download Neutrino Design because there's a birth time explorer. You can at least see what your center definition going to be like and some of the variety in terms of your variables. Because on the surface, the birth time doesn't change a whole lot, but in the deeper nuances, it changes a lot of things. But what I would recommend is, and it's actually kind of a gift, because like if you don't know your birth time, you don't have an exact point of when you came in, that's fine, because in sensory design and in the archive, we're not looking at your body graph as the end all be all. We're looking at it as a map to like figure out where to begin your journey. Like if you have an undefined head and ajna, oh okay, definitely start with the head and ajna classes. If you have a defined head and ajna, maybe do some of the head and ajna classes, but look more so at your undefined centers and emphasize those centers in your training, because that's where you want to how you say, engorge or fill with your presence so that other people's conditioning doesn't get us stuck in there. What I would say is get Neutrino Design and then come join the archive. Neutrino Design because you have that birth time explorer, so as long as you know the day, you can like explore the time. And then joining the archive because we'll show you how to actualize your body graph without needing a birth time. That make sense? Anyway, time I want to get into all that astrology too, but I feel stuck because adopted the no idea of birth time. Yeah, so again, it's like, guys, if you don't have your birth time, like, you're just kind of forced to come train with me. And you're not forced, of course, but the invitation is to come train with me because that's the kind of thing that the society wants us to be weak on. Is like, oh, I don't know the birth time, so I can't have a chart tell me who I am. I guess I'm never going to use this system. F that. Screw that, guys. You can still like the body graph, right? The two-dimensional body graph. What's more advanced, the two-dimensional body graph or this biological system? Serious question. Because a lot of people won't explore the system because they don't have the right birth time. So yeah, so guys, I would say come join the archive and let us show you how to explore human design through your own body rather than relying on a chart. Now that being said, the charts are incredibly helpful. I don't mean to belittle the charts, and I know sometimes it might sound like that, but it's just because the charts are useless if you don't know how to like navigate a ship. Like let's look at it this way. Let's say someone handed you a treasure map and it's got all these numbers and directions and stuff on it, and then they gave you a ship. But let's say you don't know how to use the ship. You don't know how to set the sails. You don't know how to read the stars. You don't know how to do any of that. But you have the map and you've memorized the map, but you don't know how to use the boat to get to the point of treasure. So what do? Most people, hey, can you tell me how to read this map? Can you tell me how to read this? No. Invest in things that are going to help your ship use the map to get you where you want to be. The map is the map. Okay? The ship is what's important, and your body is the ship, the vehicle. So, what does this mean? No authority. What does authority none mean? Okay. Um, so it means that there's no internal authority that's going to be consistent. So, as a reflector, right? The transits, and if you're not into transits, Greta, Garrett, Andrew Duran, if you're not into the transits already, get into the transits because transits are so helpful in the sense that like I could go look at my transit right now and it's not something that I necessarily like obsess over. But if I'm going to look at my transit for myself, oh, let me go to myself transit. Like if I were to look at what's going on, oh, I gotta make my thing bigger. Right now, I technically have emotional authority. My favorite center, by the way, right now is the heart, because I'm gonna have the heart defined for like most of 2025, which is pretty cool. The center that needs the most work, actually, though, is the root for me. Let me say. Anyway, as a generator, how can I trust my gut if I'm not used to and often confuse it with procrastination? Okay, great question. So we have a class in the archive about the sacral, and one of the ways that you activate the sacral is through toning and resonance. And so the fact that you can't trust your gut is because you don't often use it. And what I mean by don't often use it, I mean like if you're making decisions with your ahas and ahs, but they're not coming from uh, uh, like they may not actually be sacral responses. And so one of the things that you want to do is you can test is if you grab your waist and you kind of just like squeeze it or crab claw it, pinch it in, and then practice making your sacral sounds from this space. And pay attention to the movement, right? Typically, when there's movement down here, eh, that means that that part is activating. If there's no movement going on down there, like you need to reestablish the movement. So, again, like I said, we have a class in the archive that will teach you about engorging your sacral with blood and regaining sensitivity in there. Another really helpful thing with sacral energy is to sing specifically like sing things that make you feel good when you sing them. Very, very important for the sacral energy because the sacrum and the throat are connected in such a mystical way. And so if you sing, that will help connect you with your sacral energy. Yeah. Hi, how can I make my mouth bigger? It's really small on my face. Watch this. Tongue circles. Make your tongue stronger. Make your tongue sharper. We have classes on that in the archive. But essentially, the way that you make your mouth bigger is like you let your mouth be bigger. So when you yawn, Like, let yourself be bigger. Where's the link for the call in the archive? So Dottie, when you get on the archive, if you go to the events tab, or it should be there should say that like there's a live event happening, and you'll see it. It's right there. I am going to be posting a video pretty soon also that's going to give a little like tour so that you guys can find some of these things easier cuz I've been looking at it for a long time, so I obviously know where everything is, but anyway. Oh my god, the neutrino design calendar is freaking amazing now. Yes, it is. It is one of the coolest things ever. I'm like it's funny. It's like because like recognize like this guy Alex that developed neutrino design, guys. It's not like he was some human design savant. He was like he developed the app in order to learn human design, and he just like accidentally created. He has a 3.5, so my guy. He's definitely the I always like to tell him, I'm like, dude, if I was a manifesting generator, I feel like I'd be you. Um, because just the way that he's able to crank some of these updates out and just like continue to innovate with ways to view the system and doing it better than a lot of the other people in the space doing it. Yeah, he doesn't sleep. I've been trying to get him to train with Pasha, and he's like, I don't know if I have time. And I was like, bro, you got to make time because I'm not trying to have you like sacrifice yourself for this project, dude. Have you seen how women's reproductive organs look like vocal cords, and that is linked with why singing? Yes, exactly. So this is exactly it. Again, there's so many fractalizations in the body, like the throat mirrors the pelvis, right? And so what does that make the face? The face is like the beginning fractal, guys, right? It's like everything, like as a baby, think about a baby. What's the thing that develops first? Is their face. They start to do expressions, their eyes are looking around, you can tell when they're hungry because they're suckling. And then the hands and the feet start to develop, right? And then the motor functions, like when kids walk, why do they walk all like gumpy? Because the sensory learning is still happening. They don't know what the most efficient way to move is. And they don't learn by, like, oh, yes, you're going to rotate your chest 45 degrees and then give me a lateral bend. They don't learn that way. They learn by, oh, this is faster. This is stronger, right? This feels more solid. And at some point, we get out of that somatic mentality. That's a weird way to say that. At some point we get convinced that, oh, that's not the right way. You got to be doing it like this. Ancient yoga says you got to be doing this and blah blah blah. And it's like, excuse me, what? You really want to have a system that somebody else invented override your sensory system? And this is the true purpose of sensory design. It's to essentially put a spotlight on everybody that is prioritizing human design as a system over their own biological life. And there's a lot of people doing that. Um, and they don't realize that they're doing it, but that's what they're doing. And so when we talk about human design and we teach sensory design, we're linking it to human design as a system because the system is so incredibly accurate and a wonderful reflection. But again, if you don't also have the physical awareness of pressure, of sensation, of heat in your body, again, you might use your strategy and authority 90% of the time, 99% of the time, but the 1%, that time when you're stressed out or you're over stimulated, or someone's putting a lot of pressure on you, you're going to resort to conditioning. And the only way to move through that threshold is to like recognize, oh, that's my weak point, and work on feeling safer, feeling more grounded, feeling so that when you're there, you recognize like, oh, this is that moment where my conditioning normally takes over. And instead of resorting to the conditioning, you're able to actually use your signature, feel safe being yourself, being an individual. Because the reality is, most people these days, they're not going to punish you the way they used to. There was a point where it's like if you were an individual, you would get punished, right? And a lot of the people right now that are being punished for being individuals, they're not being punished because they're being individuals. They're being punished because they're attempting to bolster their individuality by trying to convince other people to accept them or to normalize the way that they are, which is like the opposite of being an individual. It's like it's like the opposite of being an individual. Yes, build resilience instead of demanding respect. Exactly. That's exactly it. God, you're so good at synthesizing words, Prana. Freaking love it. I've definitely been noticing the difference and being able to feel grounded now in the pressure, right? And Marie, it's not like the anxiety goes away. It's not like the overwhelm goes away. It's more like that part of me that would run away when I was overwhelmed or crumble under the pressure. That kind of went away. Like I outgrew that part of myself that's like, whoa, this is too much. This is too much. I became the kind of person that's like, oh, this is too much. Okay, this is too much. Mm-hmm. And not in a way where I'm like hurting myself, but definitely in a way that I'm like, I'm willing to get hurt in order to learn the lessons that are necessary because I'm like trying to future proof my nervous system. And also, I'm using my motivation. My motivation is guilt. If I don't develop these systems in my body, my family's going to suffer. People I care about are going to suffer. There's going to be people that if they don't see my message, they're not going to they're not going to stay alive very much longer. You have cookies behind you and I'm jealous. Oh, I got those for my partner. I did crack into them last night, but I call it the Kirby reflexes. I started to become automatic. Yeah, like you just like suck it in and eat it, and it's like spiky. Like, but then I have spikes now. So anyway, building resilience instead of demanding respect, dude. That's build resilience over demanding respect. God, I love that. I gotta write that down, dude. That is so good. Prana. What am I wearing? This is called a breath belt. It's starting to get harder to breathe. So essentially, this thing is squeezing me, kind of like a corset. And what I'm trying to do, or rather, what I'm doing, is I'm not only including the sensation of being squeezed, and it's squeezing pretty hard, guys. Um, I'm also resisting the squeeze. So I'm using it to teach my body how to breathe more equally in all directions. Because typically, when people breathe, right, it's very one dimensional. It's very belly out, belly in, right? But they don't think about belly sideways, belly in, right? They just think about in and out and in and out. And this is life where we are three-dimensional beings, and yet so many of our structures and charts and understandings are still two-dimensional. And that's actually kind of one of the differences between sensory design and human design is that human design's understanding, it gives you like a two-dimensional understanding, and that's why you can have people who know a bunch of stuff about human design but still don't use their strategy and authority, or still don't feel safe enough to use their strategy and authority, whichever it is. What's up? Saw you the first time on Instagram, and it's fantastic to see you on YouTube. Yeah, OMG's life. What's up, homie? I got a multi-streamer, so now I can stream everywhere all at once, which is amazing. I love that kind of stuff. I love what you said about using guilt motivation to motivate your action. What would that be for a splenic projector who super lacks motivation? So Jasmine, check, like, go look at your actual motivation and come back and tell me, because again, motivations are different. So I always forget about breathing in the belly. I just think of the chest and the lungs, right? And some people will say like, "Oh, the belly breath, that's the real breath," or "Oh, the chest breath, that's the real breath." And it's like these guys are idiots because like, what is the real breath? What do you guys think the first thing that we did when we were kids was? Do you think we were trying to like breathe into the lower dantian and then the upper dantian and keep the pressure as we exhale? We weren't doing any of that shit, guys. As kids, what we were doing, and as babies, what we were doing was smelling, oh, gross, and looking for the things that tasted good. That's what we were doing. Still learning to trust my strategy and authority. Yeah, Jenny, it'll take time. Come train in the archive though. It won't take as much time if you train in the archive with us, I promise. Can you tell me something about my splenic authority? Yeah, splenic is like lightning or a shooting star, you know? So for splenic projectors, one of the things that I would say, I've never said this before, but if you're a splenic projector, instead of watching like okay, how do I want to say this? I want to say it cool. It's like lightning and or shooting stars, right? And the temptation for a splenic projector is to try to be successful by like helping people, but the way that you actually achieve success is by paying attention to those splenic hits. And it's the difference between like looking around parts of the sky for a shooting star and just being in such a wide peripheral state that anytime you see a shooting, like anytime there's a shooting star, you see it with your peripheral vision. It's the ability to be peripheral, because the thing about penetration is like, look at this. Okay. I'm going to ask you, how much is my energy penetrating you? Not very much, right? Now, now, how much is my energy penetrating you? A little bit more, right? Now I'll ask you again, how much is my energy penetrating you? More. So, as a projector, one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself is to learn how to access peripheral vision. Because if I can just do this and look at you, and I'm looking at you, I don't know if you guys can see, I'm looking at you, rather than this, you're not going to get caught in as many of these webs where you don't feel appreciated and you don't feel successful and you feel better. So that's splenic authority. Learn how to see lightning without looking for it. Learn how to catch the shooting stars without looking for them. Just learn into your peripheral energy, because that's literally what it is. It's the side body and back body senses. It's the spleen that's going to let you know, hey, there's someone behind you with a knife. What the? That's a good description. Yeah. And again, for anyone with a defined or undefined spleen, because regardless of the definition of the spleen, you still have a spleen in your body. For the majority of people with undefined spleens, they've been told, "Oh, you don't have a spleen." So you have to like be around people that are healthy, otherwise you're not going to be healthy. Bullshit. Some of the best healers in the world have undefined spleens, and the reason they're such good healers is because they can tell who's not healthy. They can touch people and be like, "Oh, you need this, ivermectin, whatever. You need this medicine. Oh, you need this medicine." And they're using their undefined spleen, and it's not some like weak, fragile center that's easily conditioned. It's like a powerful resource for them to take in information and then use their circuitry and deliver some kind of medicine or to deliver some kind of healing for people. So, if you have a spleen, one of the ways that you can increase your aura by working on your spleen is by working on the tensile strength of your body, right? So there's different kinds of strength. There's like muscle strength, like pumping iron, but then there's like tendon strength or tensile strength, which is like hanging from a ledge. Spleen, in my opinion, is more like hanging on the ledge, sprinting really fast to get away from a tiger, throwing a spear type stuff. Thanks. I just checked my motivation is desire. Do I assume leadership roles because I get taxed and feel overwhelmed and shut down for weeks? Okay. So desire motivation, it's like ask yourself, what do you desire? In order to motivate yourself, you have to have something that you desire. Innocence motivation in terms of leadership would be like, okay, sure, I'll take this leadership position and we'll see how it goes. Right? I don't have an agenda. Desire is, if I take this leadership position, I want this to happen, and this to happen. Is that something that you can agree to? Okay, great. The reason you probably get burnt out and shut down for weeks is because you're going into that leadership position without understanding your own desire. And so when your desire is either met or not met, you don't know. Tell me I'm wrong, Jasmine. So 3-4 sacral authority, single definition with defined ego and defined spleen. Yeah. Yep. I also recommend everyone does jujitsu or boxing. Like fighting is so important. Um, I'm a 5-1 manifestor with splenic authority. Yeah. Okay. So again, anyone that has definitely, if you have splenic authority, do this kind of stuff. Peripheral energy. But big time, anybody, if you're a human being, if you don't learn how to access your peripheral energy, and I get this from moms a lot too. They're like, is it okay if I like practice things like in a broken rhythm or like just like 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there? I'm like, dude, it's yes, 100%. Again, people are looking in their mind. The mind is looking for ways to invalidate the work that we're doing, but it's like we're not I'm not no one's going to test. Life is going to be the thing that's going to test you, and you're going to judge yourself. And so you know when it comes to like accessing peripheral vision, if you only have 15 minutes to calm down, like, do you know how to calm yourself down? Or are you just going to distract yourself from the fact that you don't know how to calm yourself down? So we have drills that are only like 15-minute longs in the archive that you can watch it 4 or 5 times, get the information in your head, so that way when you have 5 minutes, you can sit there. And you can actively calm yourself down. You can sit in a peripheral state, do some eye exercises, and actually calm yourself down. Not just like sit and watch TV and just chill for it. That's not actually relaxing for you. It's because it's not about, oh yeah, I'm chilling, but I'm not doing anything. It's like, well, what's happening though? Your body is in some weird unconscious posture. You're holding up your phone like a freaking pterodactyl. Are you engaging with your peripheral nervous system at all? No. You're focused on a screen. Anyway, what's up, guys? Someone was asking who taught me human design. I taught me human design. Um, I got the book and I just learned it myself. One of I consider him a teacher in human design just because he lives his design so well, and he treated me like a reflector. Was my partner Pasha, who we run the archive together. He's the one that's teaching classes, and I mean, this dude has fixed people's scoliosis. He's had people come to him say they're never going to walk again, and the doctor said they're always going to be in a wheelchair. He got them out of the wheelchair in like less than a year. Like, my buddy is a miracle worker, but he's not over here cracking people and adjusting. I mean, he does a little massage and stuff like that, but he teaches people how to use the strength inside themselves to fix their dysfunctions. And he's like a human design wizard. His mom is a reflector. She was really close with Ra, and taught Pasha everything. And so me and him met because he lost his brother tragically, and he came to Maui for some healing. I was working at the event that he was coming to, and we just hit it off. And it was like just like a recognition of like, oh, you fix people physically, I fix them quote unquote energetically, and we're not fixing people. We're encouraging people, and we're highlighting the parts of themselves that just need more attention, and we're holding them there. We're not letting them run away, we're not letting them collapse, we're supporting them in the point where they actually need to be present. And then through that, again, they just turn on, and then they don't need to come back to us. Like, we're not trying to get, you know I don't want people 10 years from now paying for the archive because they still need Pasha's videos. I want them paying for the archive because they're making so much money now that they just want to pay for it. That's kind of where we're heading, or where we're at. So anyway, you are correct. I have such openness, 7 open centers, so I feel I people please into others' desires. I only have the defined ego and spleen. Yeah, so Jasmine, just like any in these leadership positions, ask yourself, what is my desire? And how can I communicate those desires so that those are clear, so that me and the people that I'm leading are clear on what success actually means for me? Because I totally recognize where you're coming from, Jasmine, and this is probably one of the things that will not only give you more energy, but it'll also make things clearer for people in terms of, like, again, what do we actually consider um, success? Can you talk more about appearance? Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, because in terms of appearance, there's physical appearance, which is the thing that everyone gets trapped in, but then there's like an energetic appearance, and whether you're able to like physically see auras or not, Everyone can sense energy. And the more that you're able to sense energy, the less of the physical appearance will matter solely. Like physical appearance is important. Like I look strong, right? But I because I'm actually strong. There's plenty of people who look strong, but they're not actually strong. And one of the things that you have to recognize is that if someone is energetically powerful or energetically like appearing nice, but they don't physically appear nice, one of the things that it could tell you a couple things, and this is a spectrum. One is that this person is just supposed to be energetically powerful and energetically appearing nice, but physically there's some kind of rift there. And on the other end of the spectrum, it's that they haven't been energetically vibey enough for it to translate into their appearance. Because I personally believe that if your energy is beautiful, your physical will reflect that beauty. And it might not be like typical standard beauty, but there will be something beautiful about you that people who actually recognize real beauty will be able to see. So I'm not attracted to appearance. Fair enough. I would say that for someone that's not attracted to appearance, there's some part of you that's shut down because we inherently as human beings look for appearance. Like, how do you tell a fruit is ripe, right? What color is it? That's the appearance. And so I don't know what I'm not attracted to appearance. Like if when you say that, I don't know what that does for you, but I would invite you to explore the fact that there are how you say more primal mechanisms that appearance fulfills that are not these kind of like shallow things that I'm talking about. Like I what you're probably saying, Feathers, is my guess, and let me know if I'm wrong. What you're probably saying is I can see deeper than appearances, which I totally respect and recognize. But for a human being to say that they're not attracted to appearances, again, I think that's just a lie. And on some level, it's satisfying a certain ego or protecting you from a certain group of people that you don't need it. I don't think projecting. So yes, okay, that got you. Yeah, so it's like it's being able to see how much of someone's energetic radiance is being projected through their physical radiance. And what you thought was correct. Got you. Yeah, yeah. Got you, Feathers. Yeah, yeah. 100%. Thank you for today. Enjoyed listening. You got it, Dottie. See you in class, hopefully. Do you have a book about human design that you can recommend, or should we just Google the stuff like the Gates channels? So I would say if you want like technical understanding of human design, I would just buy one of my reports. My reports are 35 bucks. It has a technical analysis of your body graph. So it'll tell you all about your gates and channels, and you can get this on my website. Again, it's only 35 bucks. You plug in your information and then you can buy the report. But there's also a like a human design 101 as a part of that that report. So you get the technical analysis of your body graph and you get basically the book that I read is and I can show you the book that I read that I used to learn everything. It's this one right here, which I have this book on my what do you call it? An Amazon list to make it easy to find. But again, if you get one of my reports, number one, it'll cost a lot less than the book. It'll have information that's relevant to you, um, and it will be faster. Like it delivers instantly. Love that Valentine's Day lands on gate 30. I know, right? Like the clinging fire. I wonder how much of that is like because I feel a lot of pressure on Valentine's Day, or at least I have felt a lot of pressure on Valentine's Day around like performing or like making sure that my partner feels loved. But what I really recognize what it's about is it's more so about me like living up to the standard of what Valentine's Day is. And I think there's this really beautiful kind of like deconstruction, at least in my own life. There's this deconstruction of what um, showing love feels like, because I used to use the love languages and I used to use all these like little techniques, and now I'm just present. Now I'm just watching my partner's micro expressions and being like, did she enjoy that? And I'm also like, you know seeing stuff and buying gifts for her or doing things that are nice for her on things that on in days that are not like special occasions. um but I can definitely feel the and we just I think we just shifted into gate 30. Oh no, we've been in gate 30 for a little bit. We're in the third line today. Valentine's Day lands on the third line of gate 30. Great. I have it exalted. If you guys are care about what the transits have to say, I'll read it to you right now. So, um, resignation, the awareness and manifestation of the law of regeneration, the laws of karma, reincarnation, and resurrection, the feeling to accept what is. What else do we have in here? And the tendency by its very knowing to encourage or avoid despair, the positive or negative feelings which come with acceptance or what is. Acceptance of what is. So if you're not living up to the standards of yourself or your partner or society, you have to accept that. Or rather, the sooner that you accept that, the sooner you can getting on with like figuring out what the next step is. What is the cognition meaning? So cognition, yeah, meeting with fate, it is what it is, exactly. Cognition meaning, and one of the things, again, it's like if you have these questions about human design and you don't want to wait for me to answer, or you want the answers like right away, I would recommend getting neutrino design. Like get the app. It's an incredible deal. But when it comes to cognition, essentially what we're looking at, right, is the ability for you to have like your mental function ingrained in what. So like mine is touch, right? So my for me to really kind of like start tapping into my cognition, I have to like touch it and figure it out. There's feeling, right? There's inner vision, which is like closing your eyes and going inward. There's outer vision, which outer vision people, it's like, you know, they can work in a messy environment or like a not cute environment, but if you put them in a cute environment or an aesthetically pleasing environment, their cognition will just get better. There's taste people, there's smell people. For people that have smell, it's like if the environment doesn't smell right, their cognition is going to be slowed. And so it's again, one of the things I love about human design is that in terms of like relation to words, human design has very specific words like cognition, like motivation, like distraction, right? Even the keynotes themselves are very pointed. And when you can figure out beyond your reaction to the thing, what is actually there, that's where the magic kicks in. What did I miss from today, Steven? Oh, dude, a whole lot. But it should be on YouTube relatively soon. So Candace, I love my report from you, Marco. So informative. Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, I get a lot of repeats. I get a lot of people that buy my report and then they like buy it for their friend and they tell me about it, and that just makes me so happy because like I've spent a fair amount of money like trying to see what was out there, and guys, we got the best, and I'm doing my best to bring things to you that are like affordable because I was broke as hell when I started my spiritual journey, but I also like found the money and made the money to how you say to get the things that I wanted to get. About the app human design, have that. Yeah, so the app that I'm talking about is called Neutrino Design, and you can download it via the link in my bio. Steven, I've been diligent to be here every time. Judge my don't, my friend. Sometimes you're not supposed to be here, and everything in your life, like your sacral, will pull you away from the thing that you want or you think you want. And if you don't trust your sacral, I will be upset with you. No, you will eventually be upset with yourself if you don't follow your sacral. Sounds like you were having a wonderful time with your mom, so I think that's so beautiful. Um, do that. If you can make class, cool. If you can't, no worries, my friend. That's why I've gotten into the habit of recording everything so that no one misses anything. Because I don't like missing things either, and I miss stuff all the time. And so anyway, appreciate you, brother. And with that, guys, I'm going to end this call because it's time to start getting ready for the archive. So, just a couple last things for everyone that's been streaming and tuning in. Thank you. I love you guys. Hopefully, you got something valuable out of this. If you did, some things you can do that cost you absolutely nothing that really help me out. Subscribe. Forward the channel to some of your friends. Come watch some of my videos and comment on some of my videos. Just engage. Like, again, it doesn't cost you anything, and hopefully there'll be some more nuggets for you guys um, to drop into. Sorry, last question. How do we stop making decisions from our head and let our sacral answer? Um, I want to give you such like a witty response, but really, it's like it's a process. Come join the archive, and that'll be the quickest way to actually like get along there. I sometimes feel like I hate people because they throw off my peace. What's up with that? Yeah, I mean, you're not able to frame yourself up, and so you get knocked off balance easy. I don't know how else to say that. Just gotta sit, observe, no judging and no interjection. When all that stuff happens, again, you just accept it. Everything is, guys. Everything free. It's not. It is what it is. It just is, right? And if you can just be with what is and accept the limitations of it, like for instance, oh, I make a lot of decisions from my head. Great. What does that feel like, right? And what do you think? What is it supposed to feel like when you're making sacral sounds? Right again, there's just these deeper explorations that words don't really do very well. You have to come do the exercises with us. And so with that being said, some things you can do that will cost you some money but not an exorbitant amount of money is you can get a body graph from me, you can get a report, learn about your chart and your human design. The $35 one, the Reiki report, will actually teach you about human design and the system. If you want the best app for human design on the planet, I recommend Neutrino Design. It's like 37 bucks a year, 25% off if you go through the link in my bio. If you want a one-on-one or personal coaching with me, I will take your little situation and I will diamondify it. Okay, I will reflect the crap out of it, and it will be so insightful and helpful. You'll get a recording. You'll also get a report. So that's another way to get a report. All of this is via the links in my bio. And then the main thing that I really would like to invite you guys to come check out is the archive. Okay, we have a class in the archive called Sensory Design. They're live replays of classes that we do with people, where we take the head and ajna and we say what moves can we do that are going to strengthen the head and ajna. What things can we do that are going to strengthen the head and ajna, make the centers more robust physically so that you don't have to think, is this my sacral or is this my head? So that you don't have to worry, oh, these people are like taking me out of my peace, they're throwing me off, right? The answer to all those questions, guys, is make yourself more robust. Instead of trying to demand respect from people, make yourself more robust so that you're not as easily overwhelmed, so that you're not as easily confused. And the only way to make yourself more robust is to move through the confusion, move through the doubt, move through all of this insecurity and stuff. It's not go away from it, it's move through all of this. So, with that being said, guys, the invitation to join the archive is also via the link in my bio. You can go to reikimarco.com as well and get subscribed to the archive. It's 37 bucks a month or 333 for the year. I recommend the yearly one for several reasons, because you get like 3 months for free basically, but also because this is not like an overnight thing. You know, like in 3 weeks, if you actually do one class a day, 5 days a week for 3 weeks, your whole shit will change. But if you do it for a year, like I can't even explain. We started in December and we've already got people that are like fixing their scoliosis and fixing their arthritis and able to go to big events now without being overcome by anxiety. They're able to have conversations with their parents that used to trigger them. Now it doesn't. What's the difference? They train in the archive. They're training sensory design. That's the difference. So, with that being said, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Big changes in my life. Thanks, Dottie. Really happy to hear that. And yeah, again, at any point in your journey, whether you're brand new to human design or you've been in it for a long time, whether you're 18 or 80, like the archive is going to like really, really change your life. And don't just take my word for it. Come check it out for yourself. So, with that being said, I'll see you guys on Monday. Hopefully, you have a great weekend. And for those of you that are part of the archive or are going to join the archive, I will see you in the archive. Class starts in half an hour, and I will see you guys in class. Bye.